Hello and welcome to Helpful Student. Today we are doing GCSE Mathematics and we are doing Factorising, which is grade C. We'll be factorising Quadratics, which is grade A. Now, factorising is the complete opposite of expanding. With expanding, you expanded the brackets to find out the values, while factorising, it's what's the value found when expanded, like back into expanded form. So sounds a bit confusing, but throughout the video you should get the point and get the message I'm trying to put across. But factorising, it is not too bad at all. Not a hard subject, I don't think, if you put your mind to it. And grade A, factorising quadratics, again, is not too bad. And there'll be a video in the link below which will show you another way of solving quadratics, which is using the quadratic formula. That will be in the link below, so let's get straight to it then. Right, so factorise completely. Oh, they've put the word completely. Right, anyway, here's an example of a factorising. Right, so here we go. We have 12x squared taken by 18xy. Now I've put these values inside the grid. Now notice when we expanded we put the values on the outside of the grid. Now when we factorise we put the values inside the grid. Really important you know that. So right, once we've done that, we think of the highest multiple that goes into these two numbers. And let's see, 12x squared, 18, 6. And then it's basically a fact of what multiplies into that. So 6 times what gets us 12, 2x, 2, so there. And 6 times what gets us minus 18, minus 3. And then we just put the algebraic form in there, which I'm sure if you've been watching the expanding video, you should get. And then we just put what's in the outside here. So 6x, there you go, 2x minus 3y. And if you expand this, you'll get this value here. So that's what I was on about at the start of the video. It's just in reverse. So factorising is, so let's move on. Right, here's some questions. Feel free to pause the video and go through it and then see how I solved it and see if you got the right answer. If you didn't, then just look at my working out. I'm sure you didn't go wrong too far. So anyway. Right, let's get started. Right, a squared take away 9b squared. At first, you look at it quite tricky, but it's not too bad. Noticed I've put a squared here, take away 9b squared at the bottom here. The reason I did this is because it always helps when I think it is visually, when you've got it in a grid, you've got there your a squared here and your 9b squared there. So what makes a squared? A and a. What makes minus 9b squared? Minus 3b plus 3b. So a take away 3b here, minus 3b, bracket a 3b. So you'll notice when you start a new column, it's a new bracket. So this column here, bracket, and then this, a new bracket here. Now if you're wondering why I haven't done these, is because these cancel each other out. Minus 3ab with a positive 3ab, they cancel each other out, so I thought there's no point putting it down. Right, factorise 6x squared, take away 9xy. Quite simple, this one, quite straightforward. You just put your 6x squared and your 9xy into the grid, and then we just work out of it. So the highest multiple that goes into these two numbers, 3, and then it's quite simple. 3 times 2 gets us 6, and then 3 times minus 3 gets us 9. Sorry, that's a mistake. It should be minus 9xy. I don't know why I did that, but that's a mistake. Sorry, but this number here should be minus 9. Let me just get the pen out and do it so you don't get confused. Minus 9xy. So there you go. So that gets us that, and then you just put what you found outside. So 3x here, and you put this top bit in the bracket, 2x take away 3y. So let's move on. Right, factorising quadratics. This is moving on to grade A. It's not too hard, not too bad. And there is a second way of solving this, which I taught at the first, which is using the formula. But I recommend this method because it's quicker and it's more lenient. I'll probably ask you to solve a factorised quadratic using the formula on a calculator exam because it's in surd form. So there you go. And but in the non-calculator exam they will ask you solve this and they expect you to factorise it. So 2x squared take away 7x plus 6. Now we know this is a quadratic because you've got your x squared, you got your x there, and then you got your constant there. So we know that's a quadratic. Straight away, when you look at any of these, I want you to straight away go quadratic, right? I need to factorise that, I need to do this, put it in the formula. Straight away I want you to know that. So let's see how you would solve this. So you put your 2x squared there, but you put your positive, your 6 here, your integer in here. Notice I haven't put minus 7x in here because, as you noticed, we need to find what goes into 6, and then when you add them or take them away, what makes 7x minus, well in our case minus 7x. So I'll put down the value. First of all, I put what I knew inside the type. So 2x squared, 6. So what makes 2x squared? 2x by x, which makes 2x squared, and then 6, as you can hear, 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Now 1 times 6 gets us 6, but 6 and 1 doesn't get to minus 7, because remember we have to times one of these numbers by 2 because we've got 2x here, so that doesn't. But 2 times 3 goes into 6, and wait a second, if we times 2 by 2 we get minus 4, so minus 4 minus 3, and a minus you add them, so it's minus 7, and then it comes to the simple case of x minus 2 in the bracket, and then 2x minus 3 in the bracket. So things to learn here is this number here, you don't put it in when it's a quadratic. We're trying to work out what that number is with the multiples of this number. So there you go. And also, key rule, a minus and a minus when you times them makes a positive. So that's how I got positive 6, if you're wondering. Right. The question here, as last time, feel free to pause the video and solve it, and then carry on. There is a little hint in here, and the hint I'll give you is simplify it first. Right, hope you've got the answer right. This is how you solve it. So, first of all, I simplified it, so 6 divided by 2 gets us 3f, divided by 2, 10f, gets us minus 5, divide 4 by 2 is 2. So, I recommend that whenever you see a quadratic, always try and always look and say, can I simplify that? Can I simplify that? Can I simplify that? If you can, you don't get any fractions, do it, because you'll get the credit and it makes life a bit easier. So, right, once you've got that, we put our value into the table, so 3f squared. We ignore this number here, then we put 2. Then we think to ourselves, right, what goes into 2? And we have a little table here, so 2 times 1 is 2. So, what do we have to do to 2 and 1 to get minus 5f? Or wait a second, we can times a number by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3, and then 2 is 5. So if we just put minus 3 minus 2 is minus 5f. So there's the values, as you can see here, done. And then we do 3f minus 2 in the bracket, and then f take away 1. I got this 2 here because we simplified it by 2. So when you expand that, it should be quite simple and quite straightforward. So, right, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this has helped in all types of forms. And please watch the quadratic formula, because that is a second one which I recommend you to watch. And keep doing the maths, keep enjoying it.